Hello YouTube, my name is Autumn, and I will be your host for Wednesdays for TransByDef. So I'm very excited. This is our first week for our videos, so I'm really hoping I don't screw this up for everyone, so just please excuse me if I seem a little nervous. Like I said, I'm very excited and delighted to be doing these weekly YouTube vlogs, and I really hope that we can reach out to both cisgendered and transgendered people and educate and entertain and do all of that happy, fun crap and what have you. So I'm just very happy, and very excited, obviously, and so excited I'm just being redundant, so just mind the nerves. I'm sure you'd like to get to know me a little bit. My name's Autumn. I'm 26. I live in Florida, about an hour east of Orlando in a place called Melbourne. I live right on the water, but if you can obviously tell, I'm very pale. I can't remember the last time I really went out to the beach. I'm not much of a beach person, so I kind of feel like a bad Floridian, but I can also drive, and you know, I don't vote conservatively, so I guess I'm a bad Floridian to begin with. I'm actually pretty new into my transition. I've only been on hormones for 3 months, and only in the last month have I just started to find my voice. So I do apologize. I kind of feel that my voice is kind of off, especially considering how tired I am tonight. So hopefully you'll be able to hear progress as I do. I'm actually not full-time. Some people find that shocking. I don't. I don't seem to think that I pass most of the time, but everyone seems to tell me I do, so really I don't know. Thankfully, I will be full-time with my work here in the next month. I'm very happy and very delighted about that. The company I work for, Bright House Networks, I work as a call center agent for them, as they've been very accommodating. They've made it such a non-issue for me, from asking me when, and you know, basically put it in my hands. They basically said, that's fine. We support you all the way. We admire your bravery. We want to make this as easy as possible. You're an asset to the company, so whatever makes you comfortable, please just let us know. It's really been wonderful for that, and basically come January 1st, I'll be full-time there, and I hopefully will never have to look back. Let's see, so what's some other things? Well, the other big one, I'm a parent, I'm a proud father, and I do mean father, of a 2.5-year-old little girl. She is my everything. It's rather interesting kind of being a young parent, and then on top of that being a fairly young transitioner, and I'm really not certain how I'm gonna deal with that, quite honestly. I've looked around and I know some other trans people have kids, but I still haven't met someone who, you know, who's my age, who's 26 or younger, who's also had a kid. Most people I know who have children are at least in their 30s, or the majority of trans people who do have children, you know, are older transitioners, those who transition in their 40s to 50s and even 60s and dealt with their children then. Thankfully, my daughter will only know me as me. She may call me daddy, and that's fine, honestly. I'm so happy to have her in my life. I could care less what she calls me. She's my daughter. I love her immensely, and, you know, I would do anything for her. In fact, I would argue that that was the reason why I finally decided to transition, is I realized that I couldn't raise my daughter to be a strong, happy, independent, proud woman, to think for herself, to live for herself, if I couldn't do the same. You know, I couldn't imagine telling my daughter, do as I say, not as I do. I couldn't imagine living by example. And really, more importantly, I couldn't imagine just being a shell of a person for her. I just couldn't imagine being miserable, because I know that would make her miserable in the process as well. Because, you know, I mean, let's face it, unhappiness is infectious. It destroys the person suffering, and it destroys those around them. It's a terrible, terrible thing. And I'm not talking about a simple case of unipolar depression. I mean true unhappiness. And quite honestly, before I transitioned, I was constantly miserable. And for the longest time, I could never figure out why. I had ideas, but I'd convinced myself that, you know, I wasn't trans. For one reason or the other. I won't get too much into it because I know this is just a quick intro video for a weekly blog. But suffice to say is that things are thankfully starting to look up, and I'm actually starting to have a future that I'm looking forward to, especially having my daughter in my life. And I may have lost her mother and my partner, and she'd be moving on to other things, but truth be told, we're still friends. We are, still the parents to this wonderful little girl, and we're going to raise her the best that we can, just as friends. That's it. Um, so I wanted to move on to our weekly topic, which Joey, for this week, wanted to put out there. Where do we see ourselves in 5 years? If you'd asked me 5 years ago, honestly, I really don't know where I would have told you where I would have been done today. Perhaps I would have said I would like to be done in college, or I would have seen myself being done with college, though that never turned out to be the case. I have my AA, but I'm still working on getting my bachelor's in psychology, and of course anyone who knows anything about psychology or is a psychology major realizes that I'm going to need a lot more than just a simple bachelor's in psychology to make pretty much anything in that. But c'est la vie. So now, though, that I can actually see into the future, I can actually look forward into the future. The next 5 years, actually, I think I'd hope we're going to be pretty busy for me. Of course, I'm going to have full-time here in the next month, and I have that to look forward to, and then all the other changes with, continuation of HRT, name change, gender marker change, all of that. I'd certainly, if possible, though I really don't know how at this point, I would love to get SRS in the next 5 years. It's one of those things where before hormones, I really thought I'd be happy just transitioning and be able to see myself in the mirror and accept it as female, to the world. And now that that's kind of sort of, happening and will only continue to happen, it's kind of like my dysphoria has moved down south. So it's quickly turning that I'm going to need SRS, and I definitely do see myself getting that in the future. I'm just not certain how. If I have to save up for it outright, I just can't imagine saving up $25,000 for something for myself when I could be better spending that money for my daughter's education. And I think any parent would think the same, quite honestly. So I don't know. Either I'm going to have to get lucky and win the lottery, or companies are going to have to get really, really progressive pretty soon, or I'm going to have to find a progressive company to work for to do that. And certainly in the next 5 years, I definitely would like to be done with my master's, at the very least, in psychology. I do want to do clinical therapy. Specifically, I would like to be a basically a gender therapist. I would love to, help those in the trans community and kind of give back. And of course, doing regular and, in-office therapy for cisgendered people as well. But really research anything transgender related, I think is just something that just fascinates me so much. Especially having gone through this now, that I would just, any sort of involvement would seem rewarding to me, would seem like giving back. And if I could just help just one person, I think I could see that being a worthwhile adventure. Because that's all I've ever wanted, quite honestly, is to do something with meaning in my life. I'd like to make money and be comfortable at the same time, but there's a big difference between being rich and being comfortable financially. So if I can do something that has meaning and be comfortable financially, then all the more to it. So SRS, education, continuing to raise my daughter, there's really not much else. Potentially meeting a partner that I can, be comfortable around and who would find me as, attractive as me, definitely. But I think hopefully in the next 5 years, I think that's a pretty realistic goal. Hopefully it won't be a full 5 years before that happens, but who knows. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up now. It's been a pleasure. I hope you all enjoyed my video, and I look forward to doing more of these. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.